Welcome back, everyone. Lots more to tell. Lots more. Events that took place in sequence as I know best, as well as other activities that are addressed include, as an elder and wanting to tell the rest of the session members what was taking place in relation to my spiritual life. A memorable vision from an archangel of the Shawl and the message it brought, wanting to bring forward beyond the session my complete story, and much activity that happened in between. Song I have chosen is In the Arms of an Angel by Sarah McLachlan. The seventh happening involves my role as an elder and wanting to inform the rest of the session members what was happening spiritually, resulting in a meeting at my home. This is how it went. After being ordained, I was now to partake in my role as an elder. My first regular session meeting was on Tuesday night, April the 2nd, 2019. There are 11 of us in total, including the minister. Our task was to take home and bring forward at the next monthly meeting, what area was best suited for us to service in. The main topics were mission, outreach, Christian education, and pastoral care. For a long time now, I have pondered if I should be bringing forward my story. When I became an elder, it was a sign for me that God was bringing me up through the church. It is God that glorifies us, and in turn, we use our gifts to glorify God. I thought this might be a good time to bring forward my given gifts. Mysteries of truth given from the spiritual realm, and the message that I believe is the whole purpose of this journey and needs to be brought forward. As part of my plan, I wanted to partake in small groups of around 10 or less. I had to get my feet wet with respect to my fears, and I was sure that those fears would diminish with time and I would be able to deal differently and with more confidence. My biggest fear is speaking in front of groups of people, especially in public. I do not look for attention, nor do I like to be focused on. I lose my concentration or thoughts and have a hard time to focus on my task. It's just not part of my personality. May 7th, 2019 is my second meeting as an elder. Today, it is an important day, but at the same time, I'm so nervous of what I'm about to bring forward tonight at the elders meeting. I have a strong sense of urgency to inform the rest of the session members of what has been given to me so that everyone on the session will know and have the same baseline. To have everyone updated to the present time of my experiences. An action was taken to have a meeting with all the session members for June 3rd at my home. Last month, we were asked to think about how we wanted to move forward with our gifts. Not everyone knows of my gifts, as I do not know of everyone else's gifts. Together we are to work for the good of Jesus, our Christ, through our church. I never expected to be put into this position. I did not even know the role of an elder until I looked it up on the internet. What I found was that God has brought us all into this position. We are all being called. I have God to be thankful to, and I do understand what Jesus on this earth is doing for me, helping me to bring forward what I know. Not only to help me, but has given others to help me. I read from my Bible this morning some words that have popped out, that some plant seeds, some water the seeds, but it is God who increases. Plain and simple, I'm not doing this for myself, it is for others to know and for the glory of God. I'm here to let them know what has been given to me through the Spirit. I was asked by an elder if I would take on the role of being an elder. I had told her that I didn't feel I was ready for a position in the church. She then proceeded to tell me that she was considering leaving the position and it would be good to have another to replace. When I know I'm helping someone, I impulsively say yes. I did question myself whether I should take on this position, knowing I had time to consider yes and no. I suspect that I was preparing myself for the no, but secretly was looking forward to the role. I still had not looked into what this position entailed. Then the call came that I was to be an elder. I started to realize about my gift. As I'm writing this, I realize that although I personally know that this is a gift, outwardly I don't expect people to know that this is a gift from God. I have found that there is a hidden thread throughout the church which is presenting itself as a stigma within, seen by those outside the church doors. I know of it and have seen it firsthand when I approached the community church's spiritual leaders. The stigma presenting itself pertains to spirits and spirituality. Many within the church have been taught to fear spirits. Eighth happening. Eighth happening was a vision of a black shawl and shows how I'm being serviced from God. This vision was my response to the question I asked of Jesus. Could he help me to bring forward all the information that he has given to me? If I asked, I'm being given a response, but sometimes my questions are all over the place and I'm not always sure which response is for which question. This one was a direct response to what I was asking. Last week of May 20th, 2019, I woke to see a vision of a male holding a tray, always in white, which I'm on full alert as I know this message comes directly from God. The vision was in front of me, and he is a male figure, not looking at me, but to the right side, which is where the next vision appears. I understand it to be Archangel Gabriel bringing another message directly from God. This in support knowing that the Archangel Gabriel is a messenger of God, and it is he who brings messages. His presence was telling me he is being sent by God to service me. This message is of high importance to me. They are all of high importance, but in this very instant, it is providing a response to what I'm looking for. The vision is a male, all in white, holding a trail and is looking in the direction of the next vision given after falling asleep and waking to view. The tray symbolizes a service. The next vision is looking at a black shawl. The shawl was fully open in view and I could tell was knitted and fringed. It was presented in the shape of a triangle. Meaning, black shawl may symbolize strength, self-confidence, and protection, and absorbs negativity. The shawl is symbolic of honesty, trust, religious power, and signifies emotional warmth and the need for protection from the chill of rejection or withheld feelings. The shawl gives comfort and spiritual strength, which is also associated with the prayer shawl. In this case, I was blessed in honor with the presence of a saint. This angel is given to me at a time of celebration. Hand-knitted by the giver, and as such are a symbol of loving care and devotion. The tray symbolizes a service and giving of this gift, his gift being the meaning of the shawl. Wow, how inspiring are my visions that come from God. I so wish that all God's people could be inspired by the same means. Now up to this point, I've had the archangels bringing me messages directly from God. These are the three memorable visions that involve the plan, which the message was telling me that God has a plan in action, but it is well protected. The second, before I was ordained, and that was very clear that I needed to cleanse myself, was in preparation for my commitment. Now the third vision, which is how I'm being serviced through God with the black shawl, giving me comfort, spiritual strength, and so much more. This is all about helping me to bring forward my story, giving what is needed to support my efforts with encouragement and direction. I still have a long way to go. The ninth happening, bringing forward to all. I was also a consideration, sorry, It was also a consideration to be totally honest and forthright to all, including my spiritual leader, my session members, my congregation, my community, and those beyond that this reaches. I started with the 3 session members, and next was to inform all the session members. I found the courage to bring forward to those surrounding me what God has been working through me since 2010 and earlier. I had only touched on the subject by letting the others know I was having dreams, seeing spirits and visions, and asked if I could have another meeting before our next monthly general meeting to tell my story. This was to support me with what I would say is my calling to service. It was Monday, June 3rd, 2019, that I had invited all the members of the session to meet at my home to discuss and update all as to what was taking place spiritually in my life. We sat in my living room in a circle and discussed the activity openly. All updated on what was happening except for 2 not in attendance, but they also had access to the book. Previous to this, it was suggested that I have provided each member a copy of Truth from the Spirit so that they could be updated to the completion, which was a time of April 2016. I could continue by focusing on what had developed after I had finished the book. The next session on June the 11th, I was given the impression that I was gifted, and I outwardly expressed my feelings of belonging to the members of the session. I know I'm in the right place and path. This came at a time when I sensed that my questions were being answered. I'm now being brought forward through Jesus to tell my story to all. This is how it is to happen. The story is to be brought through the church. I think back to 2016 of when I had finished the book and the activities that I had been building up. I was learning and understanding what was being given, and now the time is coming to bring this forward. I do believe I'm ready. There was nothing more brought forward until I talked with my minister to let him know this was something I could not leave stagnant. I needed to bring this forward to the congregation and the community. This appointment was set up for November 13th, 2019. The continuing discussion to all the session members did not take place until February the 4th, 2020. These visions and spirits are supporting and confirming to me that I'm on the right path. The spiritual realm is providing answers to my questions, as well as courage and confidence to move forward. I tell you, if I had not accepted my fear of the Spirit almost from the beginning and following my path through the guidance of the Spirit, I would not be standing up here this very moment sharing this. I know I'm being led by the Spirit and the Holy Spirit but it's different for me as I'm visually seeing this. God does the same for you. You only need to listen to your inner spirit. I had captured many happenings during August through to November, which I'll tell you about. At the beginning, between August 7th and August the 12th, 2019, I had a vision which I believe fits into these people that are living today and sense with confidence that we are being connected to each other for a reason, but I don't know the reason. I also believe they are spiritual people connected through the church or God. This is the last one I've encountered so far as I'm writing this July 12, 2021. I count this one as the sixth. This is what I saw. I opened my eyes to see two women who look to be working in a field of product. The one closest to me is laughing as she works. She has a long scarf which appears to have a lighter slate blue covering her head and thrown over her left shoulder. She has on what looks like a long covered dress. I see her from the left side. As soon as I see her, she turns and looks at me with seriousness. She obviously sees me. We are both looking at each other. This is the only vision where I actually see her first. All the others, I wait to see them looking at me first. I must look like I'm dead to them as I'm sleeping and then wake to view. This woman is seeing a vision during the day and mine is waking at night to see. There might be meaning in this. There might be meaning in that I see her first, but not sure. At this point, it appears to me that my messages are very clearly coming directly from God. They are responses to questions I have or suggestions that I'm in and have directness or clear message pertaining to the activity. The messages are always positive and bring new light to my thoughts, and in many cases, releasing the weight or burden I have been given. I'll start that over. The messages are always positive and bring new light to my thoughts, and in many cases, releasing the weight or burden I have given myself in these situations. They are to enlighten me and help with my understanding. They are for me, and I give thanks to God for hearing me and helping me as I try to understand how these visions, spirits, and dreams will help me help others. I wrote this in the morning of August the 12th. I have this sense of direction to share my spiritual experiences with others of what has happened and how I'm being helped by God. I had a dream on August the 13th, and in that dream, I remembered seeing a large scar on my left side that started from the bottom of my breast to below the bottom of my breast. It was very noticeable, long and thick. My thoughts that day came from a song that reminded me of my relationship with my recent husband. I had recalled the ending of leaving the home we shared with our family in the early hour of the morning with the help from my family and friends who worked so hard to help me clean out and then clean the house. I had finished by cleaning the bathroom on the second floor and then myself. I locked the doors and turned off the garage lights, which left me in darkness. I got into my car, which was facing towards the garage door, and started to cry, uttering the words, "It was not supposed to happen this way." After all these years since that day, which are just over 12, it still pains me taking this fork in the path of life. I, like most, married with the intent of always being together through thick or thin, raising family together, and sharing a life together. I know what the scar represents without spelling out the symbolism. But the one thing I have learned over these years, even if it still pains me, is that we are all individual and we are all different. Our choice leads us on different paths. A path as we know it now, for we can never go back, only forward. I would not change a thing, but do long for the missed relationship. Today I am in a relationship, but it is spiritual. One that is very, very rewarding, and one that I can honestly say is the only relationship that really matters to me in life, because we are here to play our role in the flesh, but it is short, and what happens to us after our death is our reward. We need to find our we need to find our spirit within us and listen to where it is leading us. When you become all about the flesh, you only think of tangible things: money, clothes, trips, boats, cars. But what happens after we die? If you picture a dead carcass on the road and see the tangible thing as only being schmucked into the ground, then you are seeing exactly what you expect. But if you look at it and wonder if there's more to life beyond this, then listen to what I've learned. For what I've been taught through the Spirit and willing to share, hopefully, can open your eyes to a spiritual world that has no end. Yes, you have a choice. Why not gain knowledge from one who has experienced firsthand and see if this is something that interests you or you want to know more? All this just from seeing a scar over my heart. On August 22nd, I woke just after falling asleep to see two messages in a single vision, both close as if on the edge of my bed. One on the right, I see a wreath made with cedar, and on the left, pointing vertically upward, a branch of cedar branches, all in a fog of white. I was asking to help my I was asking for help for my son. My message is understood as the wreath represents God as the circle, the beginning and end, and Jesus as life everlasting, with the evergreen and cedar. Both are intertwined together. Both are assuring me that they are with me and in my life. This is seen by me as a gift and blessing. The cedar boughs represent strength and eternal life, with the boughs reaching vertically, showing the direction or link we share. I have read how the boughs of the cedar are flat and horizontal, which represents the stepping upwards spiritually towards the heavens. Have you ever wondered what the evergreen wreath on the front door represents? There you go. It was around the end of August that my friend and I sat in an open door garage after a soccer game. I'm not sure if it was the last game or close to the end of the soccer season. During the sitting, we chatted and touched on the topic of God. I know from experience people don't usually outwardly discuss this topic, but we were both excited to openly share this same belief. During our conversation, I told her that I wrote a book about my experiences that comes from God and asked if she wanted to read it. She was excited to read. Within 2 days, she came rushing back to my home with the book in hand and was so upset. She told me she started to read the book and it was too deep and dark. She wanted nothing to do with it. I was deeply hurt by her interpretation of a few pages, and after she left, I found myself crying. It still hurts. I know there are difficulties that lie ahead, as I have already encountered more than my share. My hurt comes from when you know you have been given a gift from God, and others who are like I turn against me for having this gift. They don't try to want to understand what it's about. they shut it down. I was enlightened that night when I was given a vision. I woke to see a vision that was all in white. When it is given this way, I know from experience that the message comes directly from God. This vision was the spirit of two young girls. They were different in that one was slightly taller in height, but both positioned side by side. Each had on white gowns and what looked like a circle of something around their head, like a thin wreath placed on their heads. Both carried a small bouquet of flowers. This message was interpreted as two innocent children of God who are different but have gifts in common, the gifts of believing and serving God in different ways. This message is so precious because I see that all God's people, young and old, play a part in His spiritual realm. These children lived at one time and were taken away from their families with only a short time on this earth. Like my sister, they have a purpose, but it is not always known by us what that purpose is. I now take comfort in knowing that our life has purpose, but it might not be fulfilled on this earth. We have to respect each other for this reason and know we are all individual in our soul's path. We are physically gifted with being a part of their journey, which should be embraced, for it teaches. It is so hard to lose someone we love. We may not be aware of this, but I have cried many tears just thinking of this situation and having to write it to be read out loud. I cannot change what I have learned or how it is communicated to me, but what does come to me, I know comes from God through our Lord Jesus Christ. To me, it is a gift that needs to be shared with others so that they can have the right to make their own decision. My soccer friend and I are still friends despite our differences in understanding, but maybe in time she might want to share my experiences with what I've been taught. I have been blessed with many visions of encouragement, such as this large pink decorative bow in front of me and high up that I wrote about on September the 21st. Interpretation of the dream for a gift box bow. Seeing a bow on a gift box refers to the pursuit and accomplishments of your goals. You are ready to wrap your work up and enjoy the gifts of your labor. You may also present the result of your work to others that are important to you. The bow can be related to a specific time, such as the holidays, to enjoy the fruits of your labor. The color pink represents caring, compassion, and love. The pink color stands for unconditional love and understanding and is associated with giving and receiving care. In color psychology, pink is a sign of hope. It is a positive color that inspires warmth and comforting feelings. Although I have visions and dreams that are spiritually bringing me message, you might also see some of these items in your waking life. If, for example, you see flowers and are thinking of someone, then consider this as a sign from your spiritual guides. I had one such encounter on my walking school bus when walking the kids in the morning to school. I was thinking of Jesus as I'm walking, I'm looking down to see a manhole cover with the symbol of a fish. I laughed out loud, for this symbol represents Jesus, and he was in my thoughts. I laughed about the humor given, for I've learned that Jesus has a sense of humor, and it was being displayed by this sign in the least likely place. I have had many laughs with Jesus. Many of them are rhetorical questions such as, "Are you kidding me?" Today, today, Sunday, I like to focus on God. Church, watching religious shows on TV. Don't want to miss the prophetic connection with Reverend Dr. John Tweedy at 12:30 and 9 p.m. Today, on September the 22nd, I reread part of my book, Chapter 3, and all of Part of 4. My frame of mind as I am writing is so raw and truthful thoughts. It also helps me to go back into my detailed thinking, which gets lost over time. I'm at the stage where I want others to know what has been given to me. I have fought internally for 3 years about what others might think of me or considerations toward what it's about. I've witnessed alienation from a few friends on the subject. I know it's a huge task for me to bring it forward, knowing all of this. At the same time, I know the Spirit has encouraged and answered some of those happenings for me to help me rise above it. Then there is the mental challenge I have to do with the phobia of public speaking. It is not in my element to be in front of a group of people staring at me, watching me, and taking every word out of my mouth to their interpretation. I thought writing the book would be so difficult, but now I see it gave me time to write my thoughts. Now I will need to orally bring forward, through memory, the entire life with details of the last 9 to 10 years. How scary is that? I'm going to reread my book as if doing a book report to capture intimate thoughts and point forms through things that I need to bring forward. I expect that I will be performing my book in front of an audience that knows nothing of what I'm about to review. God, please be with me as well as my spiritual army. I need to act and keep rehearsing before I can get on stage. I shall set the target of January. I shall set a target of January. Maybe, just maybe, the first scheduled appearance might be canceled due to weather. Last night, which was September 29th, I had a vision of a male all dressed up like a waiter, and he was presenting me a bottle of champagne. He was very close to me and very high-end looking with what looked like a tuxedo suit. I Googled, and this is what the spiritual meaning is. Dreams of champagne are one of those dreams that are the most positive ones in every dreamer's life. If someone gives you a bottle of champagne, it indicates good fortune. You are going to get support in your waking life. Forgetting this, I was also recently gifted a bottle of champagne. Thank you, Bridget, Emmanuel, and family. I guess I should be positive during this time as good things are coming. What they are, I still don't know, but good things are coming. September 30th, 2019. Today I'm sending a copy of my book to Brad, my ex-husband. Last night I was waiting for a show to come on at 9 o'clock and started to go through my playlist on my phone. Two songs stood out that I just kept playing over. Questions by Moody Blues and Long, Long Time by Linda Ronstadt. The phone rings, I hear one ring, so I know it's local. And I get up to answer, and then there is 2 rings after, which is a sign of long distance, which I would usually ignore because I would expect telemarketing, but it was after 8. It was Brad. He apologized and said I did it again. He did the same thing last Sunday night when trying to reach our son Conrad. We talked again, lasting a good few hours. I mentioned a thing about Christy and Conrad, and it had him crying. In there, I asked if he knew I wrote a book. The kids never told him. I told him about Jordan, his son, and he broke down crying again, saying, "Why have you kept this from me? I had a hard time getting to sleep last night." This has to be the Spirit in action. From showing the deepness of the wound and knowing I have been trying to deal with it but can't, and it won't go away, to having that person come to me through wrong misdials. From both conversations, I can see we both carry this scar. Thank you, spirits, for bringing us together to help sort out over 14 years of burdened life, which I sense has held us both back from unfinished business. There have been other spiritual activities relating to Brad, but I will keep it safe. So this ends this part. More to come, and looking forward to telling you all about it. Thanks, everyone.